All right, we're back. A different style video. I'm going to be breaking down the French off-season because that seems like a lot of fun. I have these special whiteboard magnets. I can like pick them up and move them around. And so I'm really looking forward to this. I got to stop saying, I know. I said it last video. I got called for it. It was super funny. I love that comment. Whoever left it, thank you. We've got the 4 French juggernauts here. And this is how everyone ended last season. So we had Carmine-Core, Rise, Vatira, Atau. We already know that Rise is no longer on this team. I'll get to moving them in a second. And we also know with BDS that they're just rebuilding around MonkeyMoon. For Vitality, they are rebuilding around Zen, but there's a possibility that we see Alpha or Redosin stay. And we haven't heard anything from Gentlemates other than the fact that they seem to be wanting to stick. There's no like official reports on this, but that's generally the vibe that I've seen every time that Gentlemates roster mania is brought up. Will that stay the case? The off-season's 3 months. I don't think it will. There's a chance. I just don't think it's likely. Space Station Gaming was going to stick with the Arsenal, Hawkster, Arsenal, Hawkster, LJ roster after last season. And then they were like, oh, Justin's available. Let's get Justin. And they were like, Justin didn't come. And then Arsenal was like, well, you tried to replace me. I don't want to play here anymore. So it's a long off-season is the point. That being said, let's start with what we know. So these are the rumors. We are not sure what the deal is with Vitality. I'll just move Redosin down here. These are a bunch of free agents that I think can kind of fill in. We know Alpha 54, not a free agent. Alpha's contract goes through 2025. I think that's really important to note. We know that, and this is official, I mentioned this was likely going to happen in the first whiteboard video this week, but while I was rendering it, it was basically confirmed by Achilles. Exotiik is going to be heading to Vitality. That's the current plan. That's what all the conversations are about. Exotiik's going to be a free agent. It's just a matter of getting the deal through. So, Exotiik and Zen on Vitality. Rise off of Carmine-Core. I'll move Rise down here. And Drawley filling in his place. So this leaves, at this point, 2 big questions. And more questions will start to get answered, or actually, more questions will start to get asked as these questions get answered. The first one being who teams up with MonkeyMoon on Team BDS. The second one being who fills in this spot for Vitality. A lot of people are looking at this Seiko pick or this Itachi pick and saying, fill this in on Vitality and you're winning Worlds. Granted, right now it's looking like this roster is winning Worlds, but it looked like this roster with Rise here was going to win Worlds at the start of the season. It's a long season as well. It's a long off season, but it's a long season. We took Carmine-Core last year. They were 3 out of the best 6 players in the world, and they didn't win a single LAN. So nothing is automatic in this esport. Let that be known. But a lot of people are saying, like, fill in Seiko here, and that'd be crazy. That'd be a crazy good squad. Maybe fill in Itachi. Now, the reason I have Vatira, MonkeyMoon, Zen, and Itachi up top, I think these 3 is obvious. I think right now, with the state of the French Rocket League community, Vatira is Carmine-Core, MonkeyMoon is Team BDS, and Zen is Vitality. And I think it's going to stay that way for at least another year, if not 2. My opinion is that this is currently shaping up very similarly to what we saw in North America when First Killer was FaZe, Daniel was Space Station Gaming, and Beast Mode was version 1. It didn't look like it was possible for that super team to happen as long as those 3 teams were still making lands and had a chance at actually winning it all. There was a lot of talks about, what happens if you assemble the Avengers? But that only happened after Beast Mode and Daniel both missed a LAN. Now, it was talked about, but it didn't happen until after that happened. None of these teams are missing lands. All of these teams go into the tournaments with the potential to win. I know Vitality bombed out of Swiss at Worlds, but they went into the World Championship with the possibility to win. Yes, their results didn't show that. Don't get it twisted. So I think as long as they do still have the chance to win, and these contract numbers are so high, because there is no way that Vitality wants to let go of Zen, BDS wants to let go of MonkeyMoon, or Carmine-Core wants to let go of Vatira. There's no way any of the organizations want to lose their franchise player. And so for people saying MonkeyMoon, Zen, Vatira team up, I don't see that happening unless France stops winning trophies. And I'm here to break it to you guys. They're not going to stop winning trophies. They're not. So it is a matter of who fills in around these positions. K-Corp's already figured out. We've seen that Atau and Vatira have extended contracts through 2026, and Drali is rumored to fill in for Rise. So this is a done deal. I did not have my mic. This is a done deal. Not done deal, but like this is what we expect to see. BDS still very much up in the air. Vitality, this is a question mark. Now, Achilles has said if Vitality are to stick with one of their current players, it is more likely to be Redosin than Alpha 54. I think this puts Alpha in a very difficult spot. And I'm going to move him right here, because here's my opinion with Alpha. I think he has the lowest stock out of anyone that was on these 4 teams this year. And I think if he can't get an offer from another one of these top 4 French teams, he's going to be on Vitality, riding out his contract till it ends, just like Extra was this year. So that's what I think is going to happen with Alpha, because I don't think they're going to end up picking him. There's a chance that Vitality stay with Redosin, but that makes this conversation kind of a lot simpler, because BDS picks up probably a rookie, say, Mutzer, for example. They pick up Mutzer, and then maybe they just try to go back to Rise or something. But for the sake of argument, let's assume this gets interesting and Gentlemates do break up, because it'd be more fun. So let's assume Seiko does go to Vitality. This is what I think is much more likely to happen, to be honest. I think Gentlemates are going to hang on to Itachi and try to make him their franchise player the same way that these 3 have done with their franchise players. And if they succeed, then it's going to be a very interesting year for Gentlemates and Itachi himself. Do they still have the potential to win it all? Of course. Nobody thought this roster had the potential to win it all before they went to Copenhagen. So I think if Seiko goes here, that might just screw up the entire thing. Because if Redosin is off here, I think Redosin is still good enough to be on one of these top 4 teams, and I think it's a great landing spot for him on BDS, where him and MonkeyMoon are both kind of disrespected in terms of their mechanical talent. Yes, Exotiik is phenomenal. He knows where to be. He's not a mechanical player, but he doesn't show it in his gameplay. And I mean, MonkeyMoon's played with someone like that before, and last year won it all. And with Extra, keep that in mind as well. Extra was another player who had a lot of mechanical talent but didn't show it in order to win. So if Seiko does come in for Redosin, I think I could see Redosin going to BDS. And then it's a question of, do they try to pull Juicy from Gentlemates as well? I'm going to say, for argument's sake, they do. Let's say that BDS builds MonkeyMoon, Redosin, and Juicy. Is that an upgrade on the roster they just won Worlds with? No, I don't think it is. But we also heard from Dazzrin that this team talked about splitting up even before they played Worlds. So I think this is actually a good landing spot if you're BDS. Is it the best landing spot? No, but nobody thought you were in a good landing spot last offseason when you had Exotiik and Drali. And then the question becomes Gentlemates. Now, this gets a little more complicated if Itachi does get let go of Gentlemates. And I think the other factor that would come in is that Eversax would follow Itachi and kind of replace Fairy Peak. I'm going to say, for argument's sake, that isn't going to happen, but that is a possibility. Let's keep Fairy Peak here. Let's keep Seiko here. What happens with Gentlemates? Now, this is a bit of a reach. But hear me out. I don't really know what happened with Astral. I have no idea. We saw him at the first major of the 2022-2023 season, and he was balling for Moist. He wasn't carrying them to the final because, I mean, he still had Rise and Joyo on the team, but he was doing some insane work. And he was never a bad player. There's rumors about mentality issues. Yes. He teamed up on Solary with K-Dop and Chaussette. Yes. But I think there's also a part of that could just be, a salary is nice. And Solary's offering a salary. Sure, I'll play with K-Dop and Chaussette for money. If they decide to rekindle the old K-Corp flame. Itachi and Astral have teamed before. They've teamed for a year before. They had mediocre results when they had Stake here. And then they replaced Stake with Nolly heading into the spring split, and that's when K-Corp actually started to get some results in the RLEsports space. I could see if Itachi does get left in this position, where a lot of people are unavailable, I could see him going to Astral. I could also see him going for a non-French-speaking team, but it is Gentlemates. They're a French-speaking org. It wouldn't surprise me if they want to stay that way. But it wouldn't surprise me to see Astral here. And then, to follow it up, this could be French comms. I don't really know if Nas speaks French, but he raised his stock at EWC. Yeah, it was at EWC. He's, got the Moroccan connection. Not that there's any actual connection other than they're both Moroccan. But I think it'd be kind of fun to see Gentlemates run with a squad of Itachi, Astral, and Nas. And I think the reason I had a lot of people here is because, yes, this does list out a lot of free agents. But I think a big question that a lot of people have, and the reason why there's a most notable person who I've left out of this French top 4, Rise. Here's what I want to see to happen. I erased the J, unfortunate. I'm sorry, if I am Rizzo, if I am in Rizzo's position, and I see that Rise is a free agent and Joyo is a free agent, I understand that the Austrian squad is currently looking to stick together. But I am on the phone with Joyo day in and day out. Even if it doesn't involve Rise, I am on the phone with Joyo being like, how do we get you back? Because Joyo wants to be on Moist. He said publicly that leaving Moist is one of the hardest decisions he's had to make. Austrian is folded. He's not under contract. If Moist wants to be an organization that competes on the biggest stage in the world, they're not going to do that. No offense to the guys on Pirates on a Boat, but they're not going to do that by picking up that roster. That was a play to still be in the scene in North America. If you want a chance to make lands, you pick up this duo of Rise and Joyo, and then let's say you keep Oski, and boom, you're golden. And then there's the other question of, okay, you keep Oski, right? But let's say that, for example, Archie just fits better into this roster. Archie's definitely more of a defensive player. He could complement these two. There's always rumors about Archie playing the game, but I think if he was on Moist with Rise and Joyo, that wouldn't be a problem, at least for a year, hopefully. So let's say, Archie just fits with the team better in scrims. I mean, maybe you get rid of Astral, maybe you get rid of Nas. Maybe Oski fits into here when, all other options are exhausted. And it's like, you can't leave a player like Oski off this board, especially if you're taking that into account. So this is kind of my big board. If Gentlemates do stick a bit more, you do have to fill in with like a Eugen or a Matzer on Team BDS, and that's why I have them here. If they don't, I think the whole thing probably falls apart. I think if one person leaves, it's a good chance another person leaves based on the offer that they're going to get. Because if they stick together and they decide to stick together, and then Seiko's like, I'm off to Vitality, MonkeyMoon would probably be calling Juicy right after that news breaks and trying to get him on. And as much as the vibes were here last year, as much as they want to major together, if I'm Juicy and MonkeyMoon's calling me, I'm picking up the phone. So, yeah, I guess I have a lot of these extra players here that I'm not really sure what to do. But this has been fun to play around with. I want to see this back. Like, as much as this organization has terrorized me as a Space Station Gaming fan, I want to see it back. And I think a large part of Europe would love to see it back. You would have basically every single fan outside of someone from the nation of France or Morocco cheering for this Moist squad when watching European Rocket League. And that's crazy. You reunite the squad and it's golden. So, where do we see Astral, Acronic, Matzer, Eugen? I mean, Atomic and Tox are still a duo. They recently qualified for Flip and Spin, playing with someone, and I feel bad that I'm blanking on who they're playing with for that, but they did qualify for the event. So, they played with Acronic last split. It doesn't look like they're sticking with him, to be honest. During the Shift Summer League and the qualifiers for Flip and Spin, it looks like they're going in a separate way. So, curious to see where all these players are going to end up. I'm not really sure what the skill level of Yujin or Matsur is. I'm not Belair. I haven't done a deep dive on these two players. I don't know if he has either, to be honest, but that's also just normally not my style. But they are players that are starting to have more and more success in Europe. And if you're looking out for French prospects, these are right now two of the hottest. Extra, we're not sure what's going to happen with him. Sizen, same there. Astral, it's a big question mark for everyone on this bottom part of the board. But I think if this top 5 works out this way, this is absolute cinema. The fact that one of these teams has to miss LAN. So now that I've rambled and moved whiteboard markers along, hope you all enjoyed. There is really no point to this video other than to talk about this and have some fun. So yeah, I'll catch you guys later.